Good morning, Gadunka. How are you doing? Have you been brushing those chompers? Have you been flossing right between the teeth? Alright, that's good. Alright, now open your jaws. Open them up wide. Come on. Open them up. Oh, that's good. Gadunka, did you eat another toa? Get out of my office. Hello everyone and welcome to the recap review. Today we're looking over set number 8922, Gadunka. The set contains approximately 176 pieces, was released in summer 2007, and at time of release was about $20. So, did any of you see the top 10, video with Gadunka as a thumbnail? Did you guys think that he should have been higher on the list? Probably. That's okay, because he's here now. That's all that matters. Isn't that right, Gadunka? Isn't that right? Okay, fine. Anyway, let's start off with the disclaimer. Just because a pro or con is here does not necessarily mean it is my personal opinion. I list certain pros and cons for one of two reasons. One, these are either pros or cons that I've heard from community members over the time this set has been released, or two, these are things I've personally experienced firsthand. So just because it's here, don't immediately assume it's my opinion. I'll explicitly tell you if it is or not. With that out of the way, let's get right into Gadunka's review. Starting off with backstory. Gadunka, normally a measly 2-inch rahi, living under the water of course, decided one day, man, I'd just love to crawl into some sort of shell-like thing, get a nice home, maybe become a hermit crab. That thing he stumbled under was the Mask of Life, and he became huge and ginormous and fought the Toa Mari. And it was funny, because he looks funny. So there we go, that's your backstory. Let's get on to the actual review. First of all, the pros. Right off the bat, standard points of articulation. 3 in the arms, 3-ish in the legs. More like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the legs. And an approximate 4 to 6 in his head. So he's got more actually above average articulation, which is really nice to see. Another pro would be his color scheme, which is actually rather consistent. It's Metro Blue, Black, Silver, and what appears to be Mata Blue, which is kind of interesting. We don't see that so often nowadays, ever since the Metro Blue was introduced. We also have this large this very bioluminescent blue on his head. And we're going to see that in a second. Another pro would be his build. Oh my goodness, his build. It's not really complex per se, but it's so unique and creative. It makes use of so many different pieces. It's technically an Anika build, because it uses 3 Anika torsos. It's pretty spectacular and really interesting to see how much work went into designing this set. It's just really intricate. Now the pro would be some recolors, specifically the Mata Blue lower Herdika arms, right down there. Kind of neat to see. We also have Paraka feet in silver, and that's really cool. We have more of the Maritoran blades being used as fingers. Actually, that adds to the articulation, so he's got an additional 2 per arm. Goodness gracious. We also have these spikes in silver. Those make up his teeth. And that is always nice to see. I think that pretty much wraps up for the recolors. So another pro would be the Bioluminescence. Let's go ahead and see that. And there we have it. Glows pretty much the same as the others with these parts. Takidox, Nocturne. It's really cool. It's really neat to see. Doesn't have so much on the sides, but it definitely has a ton on the top here. So it really works out. I really like how that looks. That's really cool. Good job, Gadunka. Alright, pro out of the way. Let's keep going. So, that's Gadunka's one of his features. Another pro, some would say, would be his various different functions. Now he has actually about technically 3, not counting the articulation or his glow-in-the-dark noggin. The first one being his neck. he actually has quite an extensive neck. It's not beefy per se, but it takes these two pieces here, which were introduced in the Vizirac, and you can move his head up and down. Now you cannot move it side to side, but you can give him really different poses, you know, down like that, kind of part of the way, and then all the way up. Give him a real imposing, hey man, what are you doing? Yeah, I can talk. I've got a jaw. The other function, actually, speaking of which, is the jaw. Boom. This actually looks really great. It's a definite pro, as he's got a really cool looking mouth here. Now it is really gappy, don't get me wrong. The teeth though, teeth look really great. They really work for this character. And the jaw moves all the way open, not side to side of course. And as an added bonus, you have a tongue. And the tongue moves up and down. So he can, like, you know, you take some food, maybe a little fiku crab, you know, go, oh, and then he just swallows it with his tongue. That is really cool. I never would have imagined a Bionicle set having a tongue. And then it can close right up. So, definite pros all around there. Great functions. And finally, speaking of functions maybe not being so great, we have the Squid Launcher. Some may consider it a pro. He comes with 2 squid as per standard with Squid Launcher users, and they connect to his back right there. Take the squid, and you put it like so. Eyes extending it that way. Hold it like that, although really he's holding it, so you don't really need to hold this yourself. And you pull back, boom, and it should fly. That's how it should work. And then you can take the squid and put it right back, and it does hold the squid too. And they have varying results, but that does work very well. So another extra bonus is his stability. Because he's so unusually wide, his stability is actually really good. So that's fantastic. And there we have it. That pretty much sums up all the pros for this set. I like him. He's very unusual, but he's very unique. You really like looking at him and messing around with him because he has so many unique functions. You know, these hands, the tongue. You can tell the designers really went all out. They just went away with their imagination. It's a lot of fun. But it is time now to get to the cons. What makes this set a little bit less worth going back to get? Well, right off the bat, he is incredibly unusual. Now, that's not necessarily because he was supposed to look any certain way, but it's because of his build. He's very wide. As you can see, he uses 3 Unica torsos and a whole lot of Technic beams. So he's a very wide set, and some people may not like that look. Another con would be he's very, very gappy. His entire torso is comprised of gaps. You can see there. His head, bunch of gaps. This weird Technic beam. Gaps, gaps, gaps. Gaps pretty much all over, which isn't too pleasant to the eye. Another con would be arguably his unusual color scheme. It is a lot of blue. There's not really a whole lot of contrast, but that may not have been what they're going for. Granted, for an underwater set, do you really want to make him all blue? I digress. Another con would be the fact that his thumbs don't move. They're just kind of there. I mean, you know, he has thumbs. They just aren't opposable. Another con would be the red pins kind of breaking things up. The tongue is excusable. That's actually supposed to be a tongue. So it can be whatever color it wants to be. However, the red pins, which also stick out, are not. We actually have a few instances of open axles there, and arguable. So, there is that. He can't turn his head side to side, which is a con. Some may say that the squid look out of place, but they're organic, so they're not exactly supposed to look in place. And finally, the Squid Launcher. Now, this is very haphazard. Sometimes it'll really work well. Other times, it just really won't. You won't always get a really good squid launch a whole lot of time. It's very difficult to use, made out of this real weird, malleable rubber. And occasionally the squid are going to break, or the launcher is going to break. And that's very unfortunate. It's because of its material. But I think that really sums up Gadunka. Overall, He is incredibly unique, and with that, a lot of charm is attributed to him. I personally really like this set, because of just how unusual and out of the box he is, with such a creative, yet very stable build. He has a couple of new pieces, specifically this, and he has a lot of new recolors as well, which arguably you may or may not be able to use. But still, it's a very fun set, and I would definitely recommend him. So, that's Gadunka. What do you guys think? Do you like Gadunka? Do you not like Gadunka? Do you say, holy Gadunka? Let me know either in the comments below or on the TTV message boards. Thank you all very much for watching, and join me next week when I go over the jailer himself, Hydraxon. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you then.